Hi guys, it's Dan from Make Some Noise. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to week 4 of Music with Dan. In our first week, we had a look at building chords, so well done if you got a chord progression together with that. In our second week, we had a look at creating melodies and putting them with those chords, so well done if you joined in with that. And last week, in our third week, we had a little look at song structure, so we started thinking about how we could get some of those chords and those melodies, what kind of order they'd go in, what kind of flow they'd go in, so that we'd have our finished song. Now, before we get to our finished song, we need to finalise that structure. We need to think about some inspiration, possibly some lyrics for the song, have a look at rhythm and tempo, texture, dynamics, whether we're going to record it, loads of things. But before we get there, we can look at something really cool, which is going to help take our music to that next level, and that is harmony. So come in a little bit closer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay then guys, well before we get into too much detail about harmony, I'd like to just quickly recap where we've got to so far. We've got 3 sections, our intro, our verse and our pre-chorus. All of these chords are played with the left hand with some right hand melodies over the top. So our intro, it's just those lovely simple chords played nice and simple and nice and steady. Remember, if you're unsure about anything, please feel free to have a look at some of the older videos to refresh your memory. And it goes a little like this. Pre-chorus, bit louder. Fantastic, that's the end of the pre-chorus there, and we'll likely be going into a chorus, but today we're going to be looking at another section, a separate section, so that we can have a play with something called harmony. So, harmony, what's harmony? Right, okay guys, well to learn a little bit more about harmony, we're going to have to recap something we learned in our very first week. Bear with me, it's going to get more interesting soon. So, we're going to start with our C major scale. We've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We can also call these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now chord 1 is made up of number 1, number 3 and number 5. The first, third and fifth of the whole scale. And that's a happy sounding chord. Lovely, it sounds nice and happy. It's a nice solid tonic major happy chord. Brilliant. Now, when we're talking about chord 4, we obviously go 1, 2, 3. We go to 4 and we do a note, miss a note, do a note, miss a note, do a note. And it's still a chord made up of 3 notes. And even though these notes are actually F, A and C, which is 4, 6 and 1, we actually still call them the first, third and fifth of that chord. So that is the first of F major. So we have the first, third and fifth, and that sounds F major. Sounds happy, it sounds solid, it sounds like we're picking up some excitement in chord 4 usually in a major key. So chord 6 is A minor. We've got A, C and E, and again we're actually starting all the way over here on 6 because it's chord 6. We've got 6, 1 and 3, but forget that, we're going to call it first, third and fifth of that chord. That makes it really easy for us to talk about doing things to chords regardless of what the chord is. Let me show you what I mean. Let me just quickly rub this out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say, actually, you know what? We're feeling a little bit ahead of ourselves in this song, and we're going to take a chord that's normally minor and we're going to make it major and see how it sounds. So here we have E minor written out really, really, really clearly for you. It's made of E, G and B. The first, third and fifth. Now the first, the E, is kind of the note that we'd hum if we played it. It's got that E in it. It's kind of the root note or the note that decides what the chord's called. Now the fifth is just a nice strong note, as we talked about before, that kind of makes it sound like a chord. Now the third is the note that decides whether it's happy or sad. This is E, G, B, which is sad. Now if I raise that third up from a G to the black key that's directly to the right of the G, that's the G sharp. If I raise it up to a G sharp and I play those three together, I actually get an E major, which is absolutely awesome. An E major is a totally different sounding chord. And when you use it up with some other chords, it can create some really cool contrast. So let me break all these sharps and flats down for you nice and simply. We've got our C. Next to our C, we've got our D. Now in between our C and our D, we have C but higher, sharper. It's a C sharp. It's the note in between and it's a C sharp. After the D, we've got a higher note, the black one, and that's a D sharp. And they're always called whatever the key to the left is, but sharp. So an F sharp, a G sharp, or an A sharp. And we can play them all. C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Lovely, really beautiful notes, just as beautiful as any of the other notes. Another thing we've got is flats. Now a flat is just the way of describing a note, but one lower, not one higher. So C, one higher is C sharp, but D, one lower is D flat. And to write a flat, we just write a little B on the top. Just a little tiny B like that is a flat, and that's a sharp. Flat and sharp. Okay, so if I go over to my E, the one directly to the left, which before we called a D sharp, we can still call it a D sharp, or we can call it an E flat. They are both right. And the reason we have both is so that we can easily talk about raising or lowering the third. So all I'm doing here, got an A flat there and a B flat there. That's because I've got the A sharp from there, or the B flat from there. I've got the A flat from there, or the G sharp from there. Do you see what I'm doing here? So I'm going from C, to get to C sharp, I go up one, and to D, to get to D flat, I go down one. So once we understand that, we can have loads and loads and loads of fun with our chords. Right? We can really get busy with them. It's really cool. So we can start experimenting with chords. I'm going to write a new section that's going to be separate to our chorus because I want it to have some really, really funky chords in it. And I'm going to start with chord 1, which is just C, E, and G. And that is a C major. And I'm just going to play that. Let's have a listen. Lovely. And then you know what? That 3 chord we made, I'm going to make it major like this. And I'm going to say that is E, G sharp, because it's been made major, B. And it's an E major. So that is a chord that we've changed. We've hacked it with our skills about harmony. So next on, we could play maybe a chord 4, which is F, A, and C. It's an F major. And then right after that, like I was saying about chord 4, we're going to go to a 4, but minor. And it's going to be F, A flat, because we're making it lower, and C, and that's going to read F minor. Now have a listen to what this kind of modulation and this kind of thing can do for your music. Originally it would sound like this. So that was C major, E minor, and 2 F majors. But if we follow this along with adding that sharp in our chord 3 and adding that flat in our chord 4 at the end, we get a really cool progression. Listen to this. C, wow, it just opens up a whole new dimension to the music. It's such an exciting thing to compose with. You can thank me later for that one. It's an absolutely top tip. Really useful when you're making songs or learning an instrument. So, let's rock and roll. Okay guys, so here we are with some sections of our song written out again. We've got our intro, verse and pre-chorus that we wrote in the previous weeks that use only the white keys. That's in the key of C major, in key, fantastic. And then we've got our new part, which has got a C major in it, an E major in it. Quick tip, quick reminder, to go from our normal E minor, E, G, B, we just raise the third, raise the note in the middle by one key. So we're going from a G to a G sharp. So it goes from minor to major. So we go C major, E major, F major. How do we make it sad? Instead of raising this middle note, we're gonna lower it to F minor. Wow, okay, cool. And the smartest amongst you may have noticed that actually the G sharp and the A flat are the same note. Whether it's a G sharp in E major, or whether it's an A flat in F minor, it's the same note. A flat, G sharp. Let's put it into action and see how it sounds. I'm going to skip the intro and verse. I'm going to go straight to the pre-chorus. Let's do it. E major, F major, F minor, now if you're struggling where to end, C major is always a good bet. Okay, fantastic. It's always a good bet because we're in the key of C major. Now, did you hear those changes? You know, it would have been... but instead, it's this beautiful... it's got so much more colour. All I'm doing with the right hand there is just having a little bit of a feel around. I'm only really using the white keys. But there you go. That's the difference that a bit of knowledge about harmony can make to your music. So well done, guys. Okay guys, that's all we have time for this week, so I hope you've had a lovely week and I hope you've learned something new. Remember, if you have any questions about anything musical or you need any technical assistance, or if you think of something that you think you might like to see in one of these videos, drop me an email and I'll see what I can do. Until then, have a wonderful week, stay safe and take care of yourself. See you guys.